Hello everyone, back again here with another video, and in today's video we're trying something different. As you know, for all chess players, one of the biggest goals and dreams we have is to play for the World Championship. But with that, we also know that only a select few get to play at that highest level, at that peak, right? Less than 50 individuals, males, have played at that level. So, I always thought to myself, would I ever be able to make my dream come true by playing a world champion? And given today's modern technology, thanks to chess.com's cool bot installment and enhancements, that dream is a reality. So today, I'll be taking on different world champions. I'll be starting against Kosteniuk, a former woman world champion, also known as a chess queen, really strong player. And I'll be playing her and then a few other bots. Vichy, Sir Vichy, Capablanca, and even Magnus Carlsen. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to start with 1 to d4. Let's go there. Just going to expand the board a bit. All right, knight to f6, c4, e6. So knight c3, maybe bishop to b4 now. Okay, we're in the Namzo territory. I'll go e3. Yeah, we keep it solid, as solid as can be. And d5. So options here, you can go c3, I could capture. Bishop to d3, and then taking on c4. Let's start with a3. I feel this is quite trendy lately, so then captures. So maybe c5, h6 now, okay. Bishop to d3. Just applying pressure there. Takes. And I'll drop back if need be. Maybe c5 is coming. Okay, bishop to d7. Alright. Maybe the idea is bishop to c6. Or knight to c6. Let's see. Will former women's world champion Kosteniuk be kind to me? I think I'll castle here. Just get the king into safety. b5. And look at the comment. Look out. There's a threat. Alright, so we cannot take there, of course, because the bishop would capture. Um, we'll just drop back. This move could be a sort of a long-term weakness, I feel. Um, we can maybe get c4, a4 in later in the game. Alright, bishop to c6 as expected. So this light square bishop, black has got a nice long diagonal now, controlling the a8, h1 diagonal, right? So plans that white could have here now is maybe queen c2, rook e1, and going for this pawn push, taking over the center. So one, keeping it simple and solid. Okay, bishop to e4, preventing this push, of course. So let's try go queen to c2, applying pressure. Then maybe now we'll take. Okay, queen to d5. Interesting. We can't go knight d2 as tempting as this looks because then it's just bishop takes on knight to d2. There's this bishop takes on g2. We're losing a pawn. But even then, there are some tactics, right? So let's see. Knight to d2, bishop takes d2, maybe e4. Bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4. So there is sufficient defense there. Let's see. Wow, continue goes for this. Oh, of course, but then there is this queen to g5, right? Ah, what about e4 now, queen g5, knight to f1, because then there's a bishop attacking on g5, and then maybe knight to g3 and bishop h3 maybe. Let me put my glasses on. I feel this is necessary though, right? Go here, so this is forced now. Queen to g5, and then I'm thinking just this knight to f3. Or maybe, now knight to f3 doesn't work, of course, because of bishop takes. But now simply just maybe knight f1, and then how does the queen would maybe then after knight f1, queen g4, knight g3, queen h3, or even bishop to h3. But this looks suspicious for black, to be honest. Unless I'm missing something, but I feel knight f1, right? Let me get some water. Yeah, because knight f1, if bishop takes, then we have this. If the king was on a light square, though, it'd be much different, of course. In fact, then I would have been in check if the king was on h1 or f1. But let's try this. And the goal is to go knight g3. Yeah, so now this is very tactical. If we go e5 now, we think, okay, we're winning a piece because the queen's are under attack as well as the knight. E5, then there's this bishop to e4, but it's coming with check, right? Um, and then simply if knight g3, then the trade would happen here. So I'm thinking let's start with knight g3, because now if the bishop moves away to h3 or f3, then this is viable. So let's go here. This is very interesting. Yeah, can't we just capture? Surely this is fine. Takes, takes, takes. We're threatening the queen and this rook on a8. And now I think we are just up up a piece. Okay, it's 2 points for the piece, but we have an advantage now. Hey, look what she's asking. What shall I do without my queen? Well, anything can still happen here, right? Um, let's go bishop to maybe now knight f6 is coming. Okay, rook f to c8. Um, do we undermine maybe with a4 now? Remember earlier I said that this b5 could be a weakness. Okay, let's go a4 and then c6. Um, let's see. Let's gather some ideas here. A4, C6, takes. And then they get this open C file, which I'm not a big fan of. So I think here, maybe to stop any G5 advances, let's go H4. And then we'll drop the knight soon. Okay, knight to F6 as expected. And then now we could try this rook E5. But I feel maybe rook E2 is more apt, yeah. Because now there's ideas of knight to d5, yeah? Yeah. Attacking on c3 as well as my bishop on f4. So rook e5 wouldn't have been wise because then, um, yeah, okay. Okay, rook e5 would have been fine as well because the bishop drops back to d2. All right, we get c5. The thrust has happened. Um, I feel here it's fine to perhaps now bring the other rook into the attack. Even knight to e4 is an option. Let's see. Yeah, let's go knight to. We've got ideas of going to d6, right? Okay, takes. Um, okay, let's take back. Perhaps now rook to c4. Okay, even rook to b2. Okay, we're still fine here. Rook to c1 maybe to try and trade off, but then rook to c8. Then we have this knight to c5. Okay, so if rook c1 takes, and rook c8 again, knight c5, and we should be fine there, right? Let's see. Yeah, rook a to c8, and then I feel knight c5. Okay, now if rook a2 maybe? Nah, not rook a2. Oh, that's a nice move, eh? But, ah, knight to c3, wow, interesting. And considering king f1, nah, it doesn't work, of course, the bishop hangs. But even rook e3, let's see. Let's see, rook e3, what does black have? Knight d5, and then maybe just rook to d3, because I don't want to repeat here. And okay, if rook e3 and takes, then we maintain our advantage, right? Okay, takes. So we are losing the d4 pawn, right? I'm just calculating here. I think let's double. Okay, rook takes d4 and then h4 is also hanging. 6 versus 4. Okay. Hmm. How do we stop this? We can't really, yeah? h5 and then just rook maybe to. And this rook is very active on d4. This is the problem now we have here. Let's see. If I could have gotten two pawns for this knight, I would go for it and then go for a level endgame because I trust the rook endgame. But yeah, it's a bit tricky, right? I mean, Pawn's hanging, and we can't really stop that. So I'm considering knight to d3 here. Yeah, knight to d3, rook takes, rook takes, and then knight to b4. Because long term, I want to slide my c1 rook in and stopping black from getting this rook a4. With my knight on b4, it stops that, right? I feel maybe this. Okay, yeah. So we've got an option here. Let's go for the check first. King h7, and then maybe rook to c7. Okay, let's go. First, the rook c8 check, king c7, and then knight b4. But then a5. Okay, then we get this knight to c6, rook to a4. Ah, this is tricky. The tricks here. Yeah, I mean, if we could get rid of the rooks right now, I mean, this should be draw. Because black would just want to trade off all their pawns for mine. What about rook to b3? This is something to consider as well. Because now, if a6, then we simply play knight to c5. a5 takes there and back. I think this is best. Yeah, if rook h3, we just go up to g2. Okay, start with a check. Check is the first half of checkmate. Now we've got a little issue. This past h pawn as well, right? Let's see. I'm gonna go king h2 here. Okay. Rook to g5. Yeah, now I feel this knight has to start doing something here. Applying some sort of pressure, yeah? So let's go here. Okay, knight to b4 and then rook to f5 is threatening on f2. So I'll go king f2. I wonder if this check would she trade if I go rook to g3. No, not. Okay. Knight a6. Knight on the room is dumb. Remember this, guys. So we need to be careful now. But if white can get knight a6 and knight c7 in, this is ideal because then there's two attacks on the b5 pawn. Because a6 you just pick up this pawn, right? So let's go knight a6. And it's sort of risk free. So now the question is, does black want to threefold? Because here and rook to b6 maybe. If knight to b8. Um, yeah, there's a rook c8 and then I feel the knight's sort of misplaced there. So let's go back once. Okay, rook to d6. I was just checking if I missed something here. Rook to d6 and I want to go knight a2 and knight c3. But then even then a6 defends, right? So let's try and just centralize the knight here. Because After knight to c2, I imagine a6 is there, and we have to start going for other plans. Okay, not. Kosteniuk goes for the active rook to d2, attacking my knight, and I guess just simply the knight to e3, then a6. Yeah. So there are now maybe some weaknesses, maybe here, and then coming in here, check and coming in from behind. Let's see. Okay, that seems like a mistake. Rook c6 is attacking there and there. Let's see. Maybe now f4. Yeah, f4 and I guess knight to g4. Even knight to f1 here. And then we're just going for this a6 pawn. I feel knight f1, but knight f1's got its own tricks. Knight f1, sorry, knight f1, rook d, knight f1, rook d1, a6, and then uh, f3 check, king g1, and then my king is tied to my knight forevermore. And then this h pawn would be running, and the pawn would reach h2. I'd have to take, and then I lose the knight here. This is not ideal. So let's not go back, although those are sometimes the best moves. Let's go forward. Or we get the square as well. So let's not overthink it. We just capture on a6. I'm just checking something. Check there. Okay, let's go knight a5. Uh, king to f6. Ah, sure. Get our pawn back. All right, h5. So now we can consider this check again. We can consider the a7 check. Lot to consider because okay, knight to e5, king to f6, knight to f3. And the game continues. Um, but if we can capture this b pawn and hold on to our a pawn, there's real chances. There's real chances. So there's a lot to think about and consider now. I mean, knight h2 is an option too, and going to f3 and coming in here, controlling these squares. But then even then, knight to e5 and knight to f3. I want to keep this knight somewhat close to my king because g5 is coming. This is a very intense endgame. It's not easy. If anything, black's playing with more easier than white. Hmm. Let's go knight to e5. They say that checks do not win a game. True. Obviously, knight d7 doesn't work because if rook takes there, then we would just be simply lost. So knight f3, knight to f3. Okay, now rook to d3 attacking on a3. Now what about rook a5? Okay, rook b5, because rook a5 allows this push. So do we just no, I don't want hints. I get the feeling I'm gonna have to give my knight up somewhere later on in the next 10 moves or so to go for a draw, yeah. Rook a5, e5, because we take and then this is coming, and that's scary. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna take. Okay, rook takes a3, and then now I'm really considering to go knight to d4 here. If in, check, there, here. See, this king is really um, active. So I feel now the shift of thought now from reading this to drawing it. The rook must stay on the fourth rank here. This king cannot enter. If the king enters, we're in some trouble. So best now the knight can hop around, but even that the push and then eventually the king gets some space. But even then, yeah, there we slide back. There is e4, the pawn rolling. And this is the thing, we do not want these pawns to roll. So ideally, I feel 92, 94, and we blockade with f3. We try. If we can get the knight to e4 in time. But I imagine after knight to d2, Kosteniuk will go rook to a4 here. Yeah. Hope not. Rook to a4. Okay, now maybe f3, but f3 loses to rook a2. Right? The knight's not guarded. So maybe now king to f3, because I'd love to give this check and push the king back, right? Just when the king doesn't enter. So yeah, let's go here. All right, e5, rook b6 check. I'm thinking, nah, knight to e4, there, another check. The king must stay, I feel, close to this pawn if the king is picking up that pawn, right? So check, and now this is a very important check, I think. Of course, but then king d6, king e6, sorry. We just go back, I guess. Maybe a check now. Okay, are we drawing? Okay, Kosteniuk doesn't want to draw. Let's try this again. I drew a world champion, guys. A draw is a fine result. You want to break the tie. Let's game review. Wow, no mistakes, no blunders, no missed wins. But this was very interesting out of the opening. This let's see the accuracy and all that. Yeah, White had winning chances again. Like, because I trained against the last night. I don't know, because I felt tactically, I guess just out of the end game, not trusting, eh? So the game started on a Namzo. Takes. Yeah, and B5 was a mistake because I felt that we could undermine the pawn later on, which could have happened in the end game, but just the um, exploiting that was, I guess I didn't see that. Yeah, bishop to e4 was a mistake. Why not just knight d7? Um, like after rook, yeah, after rook e1, knight d7, and you're just developing. But of course, um, this pawn on b5 is totally hanging. I missed that entirely. Yeah, and then queen d5, knight to d2. And this was a mistake. This was blunder because now simply, uh, wow, the engine says it's a great move. Thank you, engine. Appreciate it. E4, because the reason being black doesn't have enough to take. And e4 cuts the queen off from the bishop from the queen's defense here. And another tip, guys, the queen is generally the weakest defender. This is an example. So queen to g5 is forced, knight to f1. Even maybe knight to f3 works here. I wonder what the engine say. Okay, not as good because okay, queen to h5 defends. Yeah. So we played it correctly um with uh with knight to f1 here. Because now if queen to h5 you can simply capture, which is not it's not possible if you go here and then simply queen g4, you are losing the piece, so it's recaptured. So I saw this idea now, knight f1 played correctly, and then black responded with queen g6, which is now totally lost. Knight g3, because now you're covering taking this bishop on g2. And h5 also doesn't work here. You're just going for e5, which we discussed as well, because you'd attack the knight as well as the queen with the bishop here. So it's a double attack. So if e5 and knight goes to e4, there's more than enough attackers here to capture on e4. The square is whites. So a very important rule we also see there, taking control of the center, because the game actually ended up revolving around this. Well, at least where black lost material. And yeah, totally winning. Kind of sad that I couldn't finish it off and win from here. Um, but nonetheless, we learn, man. Because yeah, I started going passively and ended up having to answer. Got a bit scared, but nonetheless, yeah, very happy with this result, man. And that was a nice move by Kosteniuk because now um, White's the one that needs to play quite precisely because Black's got these pawns running, which was actually a problem in the game, right? And because the H pawn is falling. And there's not much to keep equality now, right? In fact, yeah, I was considering rook c8 check, king h7 and rook c7 because you attack both f7 and a7, but decided with rook b3 and yeah. Yeah, I felt king h2 is best because I mean rook f1 and then this pawn's running. Maybe not immediately, of course, but it is scary. So king h2, rook g5, knight to b4 correctly played. So yeah, white has to play very accurately now here just to hold the draw because black's the one that's pushing slightly better. Yeah, rook to c5, knight to a6, just attacking the rook to c6, and decided no drop back. Rook to d6, knight to c2. Rook to d2 attacking the knight and knight to e3, centralizing somewhat. And a6. Rook to c3, f5. Yeah, after f5, I felt okay, we are safe now because there are many other options here that you could go for. Rook to d4. Yeah, you could even come with your king now if you really wanted to. That's considered like that I would feel is more sound than f5 because yeah, now after that, then now this f4 is black just saying basically I feel let's draw. So knight to g4, king to f7, rook takes a6, and then it was also important to get rid of one of these pawns here so that black doesn't have somewhat the a5 b4 push to get rid of my pawn and create a passer, right? So check, king to f6, knight to f3, rook to d3, rook a5 attacking the b5 pawn. Considering here was rook to b6, but then rook d5, and there's no ideas of knight to d4 now, or even knight later on to jump into to e5. Because as in the game later on, what happens is the knight ends up coming here, and the king to f3, right? So b2 to e4. So rook to a5, g6, takes, and yeah, now there's nothing to play for both sides. King f3, and the goal is to go knight to e4 check. This is the simplest, just to give checks. It's important here um, that the king doesn't go to g5 because then you're just winning that pawn and then the dynamic can change a bit. So after that, uh, a repetition happened. So thank you guys very much for watching. I will be continuing my saga against these grandmasters. Take care. Goodbye.